All right, good afternoon, everybody. Today is Sunday. It's not Sunday. It is actually Saturday. No, it's Saturday, January 4th, 2025. And I'm looking at Hyperliquid today. So this is a protocol. It's a blockchain actually that only has two protocols. So you can pretty much call it a protocol. And it has been around for quite some time. I want to say since about it started gaining some traction within the last year or two, and really the last couple months. But it is a decentralized finance platform. It is primarily used for trading. A lot of people use it for perpetual futures trading, which is another form of trading that you can do. There's the traditional finance market. Traditional futures market that's traded out of Chicago, and then there's also the decentralized finance equivalent to that would be perpetual futures, pretty much. And I'll make a video at some point going into detail about what perpetuals are, but that's a little bit out of the scope of this video. I think what we're looking at here basically is what is Hyperliquid and how do they help, pretty much. So they traditionally finance is there's some middlemen between you and your money. So you have yourself, you have your bank, and whatever institution in between, and then you have your money that's sitting here, and then so you have that's one way to do it, and you have these intermediaries that make life easy for us. But the thing is, and somebody mentioned it, that finance is one of the last things that has been computerized, to where we've removed middlemen from a lot of other things, but we haven't removed it from finance quite. So that's where decentralized finance comes in. So it is a decentralized area of finance to where that you can interact with your money, and you can do that pretty much on a peer-to-peer basis, or interacting with some type of smart contract or decentralized exchange that does not require you to really trust anyone except the software, pretty much. And hope that the people who are running it are not scamming you, which I think we've cleaned a lot of that up over the years. But okay, let's get into Hyperliquid. So what is Hyperliquid? It is the blockchain to house all finance. So crypto is fragmented. Crypto is fragmented today, but it doesn't need to be. For the first time, build projects, create value, and exchange assets on the same hyper performance chain. So you can do all of this in one. So Premier Centralized Exchange, very nice website. Hyperliquid Stack, this is kind of the roadmap. I'm not going to go into all this. Y'all can come look at the website, kind of see, but I'll just talk about some of the main points and then just kind of go into an overview of their token too. So I want to see what their platform is and then what their token is. Block time 0.2 seconds. Users 355,000. So that's a lot of people. Transactions per second 200,000. I want to see, and they're trying to expand this into the millions. Like I watched a couple interviews of their founder kind of talking, and they have some good plans in the future. This is the big thing that I really like. No investors, no paid marketers, no fees to any company. So they're not, again, in true spirit of decentralized finance, they're not beholden to anyone. Now, there's some arguments about centralization and who controls they're not really open source, which I can understand that. They're not really open source with their technology as some other blockchains are, but I can understand, but that does kind of bring some concerns about centralization in the platform. But in cases like this, I'm cool with that type of centralization. And I'd have to look further into it, so I'm not going to make a strong opinion there just yet. But I do like the fact that overall they seem to be relatively independent, and that's important to me. So they are very big on community first, and from what I've seen and what I've heard and what I've read, that seems to be the case. I don't sense any type of they don't seem like frauds. Like they really, and they have the background to back it up as well. And I like their team structure, so it's all good. With Hyperliquid, anyone can own, govern, and secure Hyperliquid through Hype. So this is the token, the network's native token. Own a piece of Hyperliquid today. You can start trading, start building, boom, boom, boom. So I read some of their white paper, not all of it, the other day. So they really have all their white paper laid out. It's pretty, if you spend some time reading here, you can really get the ins and outs of it. They give you a very good overview on how to get on board, how the trading actually works, their vault system. I haven't looked into the vault just yet, just to see what that is. So let me see. On Hyperliquid, vaults are powerful and flexible primitive builds into the Hyperliquid L1. So this is a layer 1 token. This isn't built on anything else. This is its own layer 1 token. So strategies running on vaults benefit from the same advanced features as the DEX, from liquidations of over leveraged accounts to high throughput market making strategies. So I think that it does mean that they have some type of lending and borrowing aspect to them as well. No more depositing into vaults that simply rebalance to tokens. So I'm going to have to look into their strategies right here, because like this does seem pretty interesting. Anyone can deposit into a vault and earn a share of the profits. DAOs, so decentralized autonomous organizations, protocols, institutions, or individuals. So this is really open to anybody. In exchange, the vault owner receives 10% of the total profits. Note, the protocol vaults do not have to have any fees or profit share. Vaults will be managed by an individual trader, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, it looks like there's some strategies here that will allow you to, to profit. And they have some different examples here. So points, it just like that, it seems like there's a lot of ways that people are able to profit. So historical data, risk, test nets, brand kits. So this gives you all the information that you need right here. Very clean, very put together. Tells you about the L1, how to bridge, staking, oracles. So I would actually spend some time, if you're interested, like looking through this. And I mean, it may take you about an hour or two, or three, if you're not familiar with it. But spend some time, look up some of the words. I think they do a good job of explaining here. But yeah, if you find a way to understand this, like, you should be good to go pretty much. So let me see, what else do they have? They had this. They also had statistics, which I like, on their main page. Like they're going to tell you straight up. Let me see, stats. You're going to go to a third-party website. That's fine. Hyperliquid stats built by Thunderhead. So total users, total volume, 600. Is that billion? Yeah, 600 billion in total volume. Total deposits all time, 15 billion. Total withdrawals, 13 billion. And then there's total notional liquidated. I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more. But it looks like, I mean, if we're just taking these two numbers, deposits and withdrawals, again, I need to figure out what the formula is with liquidations. Yeah, I mean, that looks like they're up 2 billion, but let me not make a hard number there until I figure that out. So total volume, this has increased over time, as you see. This was going way back to, let me see, 2023. And this is around when I heard about them. I heard about them in summer of 2023. I knew they were having an airdrop. I was just in other strategies at that point and looking into other stuff. And this was still honestly relatively early in my crypto career. I was trading other assets. I think at that point I was still trading stock indexes pretty much. So, but it's fine. You learn over time, and you end up getting there. So the volume has picked up over time, and like you see, it's like really accelerated at this point. Since, what is that, November? And then this is around when they did their airdrop. You see this explosion here. They had a super successful airdrop, and I think it was in the bill. I think they dropped like 7 billion on their users pretty much. So like, it was, people got some money, and shout out to anyone who got into there. So this was one of the more expensive airdrops to get into, and you pretty much were trading perps at that point. So if you weren't like a futures trader, you probably wouldn't have gotten into it. But yeah, so open interest, you see, has increased over time on all networks. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, others, blah, blah, blah. Non-HLP volume was HLP. I do not know. So annualized funding rate. So funding rate, this is really how perpetuals end up working. So if stuff, it basically it measures the distance between the spot price and the futures price. And if the price gets too far apart, that funding rate is going to increase, and that incentivizes people to bring that price back down to the spot price. So futures price and spot price can differ pretty much, but you can have a negative funding rate and a positive funding rate just depending on where it is to bring it back down closer to the spot price. That's what it's trying to do, is balance that for like the entire time, pretty much. Again, HLP, I still got to do my homework. Something liquidity, probably. Anyway, liquidations. This is what happens like if you get liquidated in your position, pretty much. So maybe you were short and the market ended up going long, and you got stopped out pretty much either with your isolated position or your cross position. You got liquidated. Inflows, you see those have increased over time. net positive as it looks to be now, very much so. It was that net negative for a while, but that's fine. Sure, is net P&L. I mean, this looks like it's going down, right? And as it is, but number one, the trading conditions were terrible during what early, I wouldn't say like around this time. This was still kind of going up into the bull market, and we see like volume that reflects that. But for this entire period, trading was difficult. There was not much liquidity, and even back here, it was even worse. Because like this is like 2023, like the market was very quiet. It was quiet all this time. So I understand why that's down. I expect to see that go up over time. But if it doesn't, we also have to account for the fact that in trading, really only about 10% of people are consistently profitable. But in markets like this with the bull market, it'll probably be a lot higher than that. So I'm not surprised there with a negative number to see how that looks, but we'll see. Slippage, their slippage has decreased over time, and that's good. This is what you want to see. So like this, if you have an efficient market, the price that you want to get into is the price that you get into. So back here, maybe there was a lot of difference between slippage and so like the price that you got in might not have been exactly where you want. And that can, if you're moving hundreds of thousands, if not millions or millions of dollars, that can be significant. So you want, yeah, you want to see a DEX with very tight slippage. So I love that they're very transparent here. This is good. So unique traders by percentage of coin. Wow. So yeah, I mean they're trading a lot of. So if I look at this, like you have Bitcoin, which is obviously going to be traded a lot. And if we see recently, this should tell you that memes are picking up. This other category, this pink, you see that the green and the purple and the orange have shrunk from like over here. You see they were kind of wide, then they shrunk. So this tells me that people are really focusing on trading like these smaller tokens and these other alts pretty much. So I think we could be heading into an alt season pretty soon. New users, and again, this is around their airdrop time, so it's expected to see that. So but it's been a steady pickup, like 600 700 people a day, like that picks up. And as you see now, I expect this trend to continue. Number of trades exploding, just continues. Millions of trades, like cumulative. They were doing, oh wait, that's cumulative. Bitcoin, they're doing 2 million Bitcoin a trade a day. Excuse me. And yeah, I mean that's it. I mean I like that page pretty much. So let's look at the platform. Let me see. Let's look at the platform, and then I'll talk about the founder real quick, and then we'll run through everything else. Launch app. There is a geotag if you're in the US. That just kind of is what it is. I think as we go into the future, we will see a lot more DeFi adopted in the United States, just because I think that the current administration understands that we're behind on crypto. We're very behind on crypto, and they want us to be able to succeed. I don't know what they want actually, but it would seem to me that they are very bullish on crypto overall. So, I mean, politically, if we're looking at it, it has been, hey, you can't use any type of decentralized exchange or whatever. I think we're going to see a lot of leniency, so I'm not too worried about this this geotag. But something to note that if you are in the U.S., you're not really allowed to use it in the jurisdiction. So yeah, so let me see with Hyperliquid. I was just like kind of looking at, you could still like kind of look at the features, you just can't really trade with it and whatnot. So mark price, Oracle price, this is a 24-hour change. It's a very clean interface. Very clean interface they have here. Cross, and I'm not going to go too much into perps pretty much, because like I said, I'll make another video on that. I think it's worthy on making a video by itself. But yeah, I mean, you can still play with the stuff and like kind of see what sell or short, kind of click around and see what it is. They have a perpetuals DEX, just like really any other one that I've seen. I haven't been too much of a DEX trader, but I have traded futures for quite some years and just traded in general for the last 6. So it doesn't look terribly difficult to get into, as long as I understand the margin requirements, the leverage, where I put my stops and my take profits and my entries. If I understand that, we can get rolling. So Yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna go too much into this. I'll make another video on perpetuals and whatnot. So this is Jeff Yan. Now, this is not actually Jeff Yan, it's an NFT, of course, but he's the co-founder of Hyperliquid. And here are his details. Very short and to the point. Jeff Yan is the co-founder of Hyperliquid. Jeff began his career in high-frequency trading at Hudson River Trading. Hudson River Trading. I went to Afrotech this year, and there was like a booth of like it said Hudson River Trading. I didn't know who they were, and so I walked up and I said, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like, we kind of chopped it up for a little bit. I figured out they were a trading firm, and yeah, no, I mean they seem like they were doing good work. So they're based out of Wall Street. They're a quantitative firm for sure, and they look at several markets. So it's definitely has some experience in quantitative trading. But it looks like he soon moved over to the world of crypto, where he built one of the largest market making firms in the space. So just a little bit about his background: Hyperliquid, Hudson River Trading, Google, Harvard for education. The man is educated, and he's American based. So or American educated at least. I don't know if he's American born, but who knows? Doesn't matter. He's talented for sure. And after seeing him speak a couple times and listen to really what he says, he seems to be a humble guy who really is about the community. He's very well educated from what I can tell. I mean, obviously with an Ivy League background, but not only just that, it's like the subject matter as well. So computer science and mathematics are his two concentrations. So you can do computer science and not understand the mathematics behind it, then that makes being a quant pretty hard. You can understand mathematics, but if you don't understand the computer science and the machine learning aspect of it, well, then that's going to be pretty hard on that. The algorithmic builds and all that stuff. But if you understand the math and the computer science, then you can do a lot. You can really do a lot if you put your mind to it. My background is engineering, chemical engineering. So it's like my focus is more chemistry than it is the math side, but I do understand and then can conceptualize the concepts. But those pure mathematics types, like it's good. So I do like to see kind of like a very technical and engineering founder slash CEO. So that's good to see. Like you definitely want to believe who's the team behind it. And they have other very talented people too. I think he said they have somewhere in the range of like 5 to 10 engineers on staff, and then like some other technical people too. So they've kept like a really like kind of core team. And I like that. So that's good. Like they kept it at, they kept the outside money out, which also keeps the outside influence out. So they can really kind of guide this in the direction that they want. So like I said, that's in true spirit of decentralized finance. So like it makes sense. Actually let me actually show you what the guy looks like. Yeah, so this guy. Not him. This is Jeffrey Yan, the guy that beat crypto. Hyperliquid's unique approach. So yeah, Jeff Yan, pretty well, put together guy, very well spoken. He gives off an air of confidence, which I believe is well earned at this point. Him and his team have done some amazing things, so it's very good to see. All right, Hyperliquid, and like I said, I'll make another video with like specifics on like how they trade and like what the platform breakdown. But this is more of an overview. Hyperliquid, this is their Discord. They have thousands of interactions and notes, so that's good. They have a community, referrals, blah blah blah. Not going to go into this, but I just joined it not too long ago, so I haven't really interacted as much. I'm still apparently a lurker. I just got in here, so all's good. But it looks like they have a thriving community, so that's good. Like I said, they have like 300 something thousand users, so that's good. So let's look at their actual token, which is Hype. Hype. Hyperliquid, like I said, Hype USDC. As you can see, this is the #2 token right now. Hype right here is #2. Like it is trading like crazy. And the price is currently $23. And let's look at the price versus the market. Where did it come from? It was when it started, and you see it once it released the actual Hype token, which this is the airdrop. It released on November 29th, so the end of November, around Thanksgiving time, right after Thanksgiving. Started off at the end, it ended its first day at $5. It's now 25, so it's or 35 or 25 at this point. So it's up 500% at that point, or 400. But it went up like 7x pretty much. So that's good. That's something to pay attention to. So price, all this. Let me look at the market cap. So the market cap is in the billion. So it's moved up very quickly. From 1 billion to 11 billion all the way back down to 7 billion. So good to see. That's a lot of movement for sure. Fully diluted value. So over time they'll release more tokens. So what is that? So it looks like what's 7 divided by 23? That's about 33%. So about 33% of the tokens are there. So that is some sell pressure over time, but I don't think that'll be an issue for real. I think they'll have enough demand to justify any type of sell pressure that they'll have off of that. So like I said, from what I see, this is really good work. Pair, yeah, Hype USDC. We got the website here. We already went through a lot of that. Hyperliquid is performant, but I'm not going to read all this. But yeah, that's pretty much the token. Pretty much, if we're looking, they had a wave here, wave here, wave here. It looks like they've formed some type of resistance right here. Like, and just quick technical analysis based on what we can see. But they look like this is some type of area of resistance. So about 8 billion is where there's some solid floor right there. So I think it may stay here, maybe break down a little bit more. Worst I would see is maybe coming down to here. But again, we're so bullish at this point that I don't think any type of dip down to here would stay long. So yeah, I think that's it. But I mean, you see it's number 2 on Dex Screener right now. So it is up there. People are paying attention. Let's look at DeFi Llama. DeFi Llama overview. So yeah, I mean, what's the total value locked across all chains? 128 billion. Stablecoin market cap is 200 some billion. So let's look at some of the different chains. What are the chains that we have available to us at this point? Total value locked across all chains. Obviously, number 1 being Ethereum, Solana, Tron, Bitcoin makes sense, right? Binance Chain, Base, the big one. Base is going to do well. Arbitrum will do well. Sui will do well. And Hyperliquid. Hyperliquid is climbing the ranks and very quickly. So Avalanche is good too, but these if you're paying attention to other chains, like these are some good ones to pay attention to. My favorites are going to be Base. Hyperliquid now is one of my favorites, and Sui. I've heard good things about Sui. I really haven't done my research too much, but definitely between Base and Hyperliquid. In terms of newcomers, right? So Solana was around last cycle. They truly dominated this cycle, but between those three, Base, Sui, and Hyperliquid, they're going to do very well. So we'll see. Let's see. So yeah, Ethereum, number 1 protocol. I mean, number 1 blockchain, pretty much. Solana, Tron, Bitcoin, Binance Chain, Base, Arbitrum, Sui, and Hyperliquid at number 9. I think it was number 8 yesterday. They're kind of switching back and forth, but look at total value locked. So you have 70 billion on Ethereum, so that's a lot. Very big chain. Solana, 9 billion. And we can look at some of the growth later, but I'm really focused on Hyperliquid. Bitcoin is 6 billion locked. Binance Chain, and Bitcoin really doesn't do too much with DeFi, but like since it is so big, that total value locked is going to be in proportion, but just a much smaller proportion. Binance Chain, Base has been climbing the ranks. I think it was over 4 billion at a certain point. Base will definitely be a top 5 before the end of this in terms of DeFi, at least. Maybe not. In terms of top chain. So let me see. Arbitrum, Sui, and then Hyperliquid. The thing that I noticed about about Hyperliquid pretty much is look at all the protocols. You have all these for Ethereum, Solana, double digits at least. Hyperliquid has 2. So the chain and the protocol pretty much are one and the same. So I literally think you just have Hyperliquid Perps and Hyperliquid Spot, which is like Spot is where you're just buying 1-to-1 pretty much. Perps is where you're using contracts. You're trading contracts. When you're doing Spot, you're trading tokens. That's the difference. So let's see. I don't think there's a little over arrow. Let me click on this. Yeah, there we go. Rich CBL stables. Let's see what the stables ranking is. I'd like to see that. Hyperliquid jumped a little bit. Okay, so it's 8. So they're probably climbing too. 24-hour, yeah, 24-hour volume. They're probably gonna jump up there. They're still 8. Yeah, still 8. 24-hour fees, not as much as fees. So yeah, they dropped a little bit. Market cap versus the TVL. Wow. No, that's not right. I don't know what that's based on. Okay. No, so they dropped down. I don't know what that's based on then. Okay. Let's just click on Hyperliquid and see what that is. Stablecoins market cap. So you see there was really nothing. April this year is when like they kind of launched. And then all the way through this year, pretty much the same. Like, not steady, consistent activity, probably airdrop right around here. And then this is like where the real hype came in. You see like the graph is going up and down too now. So I think this is going to be an incredible DeFi summer for sure. Look at the volume, same thing. A relatively small amount of volume. Fees, they didn't start generating. Let me see the volume increase. So fees, they just started generating that around Christmas time. So I'll have to look into what their fee generation strategy is. Like, I know they have like the funding rates and that feeds the perps, but I'm not sure where that's coming from. So fees and revenue are pretty much 1-to-1, it looks like. So perps volume, their perpetuals volume has exploded and has probably taken a decent amount of market share from other people. I think this is the chain to be on if you're going to be a futures trader on chain. I don't at this point see anyone else who's they are truly on chain, like for sure. And like with that making it permissionless, like it really adds to the overall aspect of it, which I mean it's exciting for sure. So let's look at categories. I want to see perps. Let's see if I can find it. Perps. The volumes on perps pretty much, which when I say perps is perpetual futures contracts. So traditional futures contracts, they're bound by time. Perpetual futures contracts, they have no expiration. And you're just trading based on the funding rates pretty much. And that's how it ends up going. There's no delivery, no settlement for perpetuals. They're not intended to be. So wow, I think they jumped even more. So let's look at the dexes like overall. The volume of where it's going. So you have Hyperliquid. Number one, the volume, it's gone down. Everyone's gone down. They haven't been traded as much. Volume in 24 hours is 2.79 billion. Over the last 7 days, 22 billion. So this is roughly what, 8 times as much? No, I'm sorry. That's about 5 to 6. It's about 5 to 6 times as much as the next guy. So 22 billion down to 4 billion. And then this is like 2.7 billion down to I guess that's technically 0.68 billion. Yeah, no, it's like a 4 to 5x pretty much. So this is this is good. And that's Jupiter. So this is Solana. So this is where most of the perpetuals, this is a huge chain, like when it comes to perpetuals and whatnot. So they've really stolen the show because like Jupiter is only Solana. I think, obviously Sim Futures has Ethereum and these other ones, Apex Protocol, Drift and Bluefin. But Hyperliquid has it has Bitcoin, it has Ethereum, it has Solana, and then you're able to trade many others as well. So yeah, they're still in the show. They're up there. That's solid. So let's look at the perps chains. Perp volume by chain. Yeah, so all the perp trading is done on the Hyperliquid chain, and it really sets it apart. So it's like if you're looking at who's the number one, Hyperliquid. It's not Solana and Jupiter and all this other stuff. Like Hyperliquid is going to absorb everything else because it's on chain. And when it's on chain, you end up eliminating a lot of your cross border, not your cross border, your counterparty risk. That's what it's called. Not cross border risk is what I was about to say, but counterparty risk. Because again, you're trusting the smart contract and it's permissionless and it's trustless too. So that's good to see. So if we look at like the perps by chain, Hyperliquid is number one. What's the volume? 24 hours. Yeah, we kind of looked at this earlier, but percent of total. So they're 40%. They got 40% of all the perks pretty much. So like, look at this. This nobody. These are chains that have been around, but like there's certain chains where it's like if we're worried about what's going to be hot this cycle, yeah, you can do perks on this, but it's like why would you do that when you could just come to things like maybe Jupiter or Hyperliquid, maybe you're Solana Maxi, I don't know, stay on Jupiter. But I think if you're agnostic, as I am, to whatever coin that we're talking about, then Hyperliquid was going to be the one to where you want to be because it gives you, from what I see, the most options and the most flexibility. Um, Perps aggregators. Let's see what this is. Nope, that's it. So, where's protocols? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to see kind of what some of the DeFi stats were. I use Nansen for on-chain analysis, but the thing about Nansen is it doesn't have every single chain. Like it has, let's take a look here. So I want to look up Hype. So we just looked it up on Dex Screener. It's not on here. This one's not on here. I looked it up earlier. Hype is the token. And maybe someone else can find it. If you can find it, I might give you $5. But we'll see. I may cash out you. But I don't think you're gonna do it. So if I look on chain growth, Algorand, like it even says right here, not all chains displayed here are supported across the Nansen features. So Hype is the L1 token of Hyperliquid, but like it's the L1 token of that blockchain. And these are all the different blockchains, well, not all the different, some of the different, major blockchains like Ethereum, you see it there, Phantom, Mantle, all these other ones, Solana that they're supporting now. But really with Hyperliquid, like I said, it's two protocols, your L1 token. I think they are developing some other tokens on Hyperliquid, but it's going to end up absorbing a lot of liquidity, a lot of volume from the market. I just see that being the place where trading really happens over this cycle. So, like I said, I haven't been following it, but I have, it's been in back of mind. I've heard the rumbles about Hyperliquid, but now like me kind of putting it all together, I can see that it's definitely got some legs to it, and I think it's really going to end up eventually having some type of U.S. presence. So, I mean, if you're in the U.S., find ways that you can interact with the protocol and do that type of stuff, and we'll see what we get. So, other thing that I look at is like kind of social metrics, like where does it come from? Like who's talking about this thing? So let's look at Max. So I have Hyperliquid pulled up here, and actually I'm gonna go ahead and favorite that. 1 year maybe. Well, that's weird. It's not doing it for me. Let's refresh it. Okay, yeah, that's better. So let's go back Max, which didn't really change much. So these are the engagements. Nobody's talking about it. Got a couple thousand people talking about it, a couple tens of thousands of people, well, engagements at least, tens of thousands of engagements per day. And then it just explodes. All right, now we're in the millions of engagements. This is the airdrop. Everyone's hype, and again, for good reason. They dropped a lot of money, 7 billion. I think this airdrop was, and now it's down back to 2.5 million. But I don't think we're going under the millions at this point. And this will, I mean, we're on a downturn right now in terms of crypto. But as crypto increases and Bitcoin's price increases, these engagements are going to go up as well, and more trading happens. So mentions, more people are talking about. People are actively adding Hyperliquid and mentioning Hyperliquid. More creators, whether they be crypto or finance creators or whoever, are talking about. So you're at like what 1,000 different creators, or is that million? No, it's millions. Yeah, sentiment. I mean, this is, from what I've seen, this is usually always pretty high. 80 something. Like it's rare to see something unless it's pretty bad that something drops down here. But you get the kind of summary over here. Top creators, seeing who they are, activity frequency. What day is this? That is Fridays. Seem to be the Fridays in midday or kind of like your thing. But this is kind of the end of the week. Stuff is closing out, so people are seeing what their week looks like. So that makes sense. Sentiments neutral. It's all the engagement is happening on X pretty much. So YouTube, got a little bit Reddit and so forth. But Hyperliquid is really lives on crypto Twitter. But it's very weird. Like the CEO, he was saying that he's not even on crypto Twitter, which actually gives me a little bit more hope too. Not more hope, but he's really focused on the product. He's not focused on this is a weird thing to say. He's not focused on the hype. But like he's really focused on the product and the actual engineering and the making sure that users have the best liquidity, the best user experience, and the best trading experience. So I think it's pretty good that he's community first, but he's also has the background and the team to be able to get through it. So I mean, you can definitely recognize when someone is intelligent and someone is smart, and he is one of those people for sure. Um, let's see what else I need to talk about. These are some of the big tweets. Nope, I think that's about it. So actually, we will see who some of the top creators are. Hyperliquid, all networks, Crystal Crypto. Look on chain. I don't really know too much. Again, just like I'm not too much on crypto Twitter either. I don't really know who these accounts are, but again, these are some pretty. Let's see what the creator rank is, but I don't see what the followers. It's like engagements, mentions, blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, here they are. Yeah, so again, like 500,000 followers, 293,000 followers, 50. So these are some pretty big accounts that are talking about Hyperliquid. So I think that the word is going to get out pretty quickly. So this is good to see. If I'm looking at this followers column right here, tens and tens of thousands of millions of people are talking about this. Millions of people are being broadcasted Hyperliquid right now. So I don't think it'll be long before this thing has a real global presence. It really already does, but like it's like before it really explodes. So I think this is a good time to get in and get what you need to get. And other than that, is that it? Yep, those are all the tabs I have pulled up. So I don't really have too much else to talk about. So again, this has been Chris Talks Crypto. Check out crypto-based resources on christalkscrypto.com. Check out the Pulse on Crypto Escape Velocity course. We did a really good job with that one, kind of really teaching people how the ins and outs of crypto and how to really utilize DeFi. This is what DeFi is all about right here. So being able to have autonomy over your money and over your ability to transact pretty much. So again, check us out, Pulse on Crypto, Chris Talks Crypto. And other than that, I will see y'all on the moon. Take care. Bye-bye.